Whereas it used to be very much so that, whenever someone came into a space and had a blog and was kind of talking about something, they really felt threatened by that. In the past, it used to be, well, we run a TV network, we control everything, and that's the way that it is. And when someone else comes into what they assume to be their own controlled space, they do feel a little bit threatened.
TV is all around us, and we often talk about social media as sort of replacing some of these old technologies, but TV is sort of going to be around for the long haul. And this week we've got somebody really interesting to talk to. It's Regan Cunliffe from Throng, the site, the community for TV watchers, TV producers and TV broadcasters that's in New Zealand, Australia, Canada and the UK. He's got some great stuff to talk about community. So here he is. So who are you and what do you do?
My name's Regan, and I run Throng, which is a kind of social community website based around television. People can come to the site and talk about what's on TV, but also it's a space for the TV networks and production companies to have a space to kind of come and promote what they're doing. So we get all the weekly highlights, packages, news releases, casting calls, all that kind of thing sent through from the networks and production companies. And all of that gets posted on their own individual blogs.
Cool.
And then your everyday TV viewer can jump in there and talk about it. It was something we always wanted to do when we were running the Idol stuff, because we kind of found that people were wanting to talk about other stuff that was on television. And we kind of learnt that after a period of time with the networks kind of wondering, what's kind of going on with blogs and how does that all work, actually starting to embrace that. And so we kind of figured, well, let us help you embrace it even more by providing you a space with what we're doing that then gives you an official voice in an independent environment. So we don't edit what they have to say. So if they want to do a press release about whatever report that's in the paper, it's not going to sit down as journalists and try and do a spin-off. So they have their own individual voice, and we have cases where, like in New Zealand here, where one of the programmers from one of the networks, actually Karen Bolesky from Prime, actually will come on the site and answer questions in an official capacity, but an unofficial forum.
Very cool.
And so there's a lot of people that have actually, grown to really respect her as someone within the industry that's using an independent space to kind of talk about what they're doing and answer questions, which I think everyday people actually really like.
That's really cool, because TV's always had this sort of mystique about, it's hard to get into, and yet sort of when I wanted to get into the TV industry, I found that it wasn't really that way at all.
A lot has changed in the last 3-4 years. Because it used to be very much so that, whenever someone came into a space and had a blog and was kind of talking about something, they really felt threatened by that. Because online has been such a new thing for them to have to deal with. Because in the past it used to be, well, we run a TV network, we control everything, and that's the way that it is. And when someone else comes into what they assume to be their own controlled space, they do feel a little bit threatened. But we've kind of wanted to show them that, hey, look, we're not here to step on your toes, we're actually here to help and provide you with another space that's a little bit less corporate, because when people go to corporate sites, they tend to get that whole corporate speak, and they kind of feel as if they're being preached to, or this is the way that it is. Whereas our environment's a little bit more relaxed. And so they can still provide that official speak, but because it's not in an official way or on an official site, people kind of feel a little bit more relaxed. It's kind of like, rather than going and sitting in a boardroom and having a conversation with someone, it's kind of a bit more like sitting down in a cafe and having a conversation. So
nice, neutral territory sort of.
It's a little bit more neutral, and it's a little bit more relaxed.
Cool. You're a real export success story with a zero carbon footprint.
Other than just around the servers, I guess so.
Well, true.
We've got the site running in 4 countries now, New Zealand, Australia, Canada and the UK.
Cool.
We get around about 300 to somewhere between 300 and 350,000 visitors a month, and growing. And we're pretty happy with that after 18 months.
Yeah. How do you go about creating content that advertisers want to be around and that people want to read?
That's kind of something that we're really starting to look at a bit more now, because initially what we wanted to do is really build a space where there was all this different content coming in from all these different places, because what you tend to find is when you're searching for a particular TV show, you might be looking for something that's on one network and then something else that's on another network, or something else that's from another production company. And so you've got all these different things in different places. Mm-hmm. You keep having to go back to Google and searching for things and kind of going off to different sites. So we really wanted to bring that all together in one place, which kind of makes sense from the end user, because at the end of the day, people don't really have that strong connection with a channel or a production company. It's more about just the show, and if there's a group of shows that they're interested in, then why would I as a user want to have to go off to all these different places to get the information if I can get it all in one place?
True.
And so in doing that, we basically pulled all this content from all the different networks and so on. So they basically provide us with original stuff, which we then publish on their behalf. And then now we're kind of moving into that whole phase of actually writing and bringing on board writers to actually do kind of critiques of shows. We do our own recaps of different shows that are on, so that if people have missed an episode or something, then we've got things that people are able to catch up on. And we've also just started doing a couple of competitions, kind of like that whole virtual rugby thing, where you pick your team, how much they're going to win by. This is you can. For a couple of daily soaps, like in Australia, we do it for Home and Away, and we do it for Shortland Street, where people can pick 4 characters over the course of a month, and then each night they will get points based on what they actually do in the show. And
cool.
At the end of the month, whoever has the most points gets a prize.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
So there's all these different little things that we're doing now, just to start to build that original content outside of actually just bringing in the information and news from the networks and production companies.
Great stuff. And do you find that people sort of from within the reading community want to submit their own content?
Yeah, particularly in New Zealand. I think being based here and doing a bit more in the local market is probably helped. I mean, we have a number of people who will, regularly have rants about different things that have been in the media. Whether it's, talking about TNZ taking on Sky and saying, we want them broken up, and then you get different people from different sides of the argument coming in and saying their things. Regularly you'll have people who are insiders from one of the networks will, have a bust up over something and decide they need to vent somewhere, and so under a pseudonym, there they go.
Oh gosh.
So you do have that kind of thing happening every now and then, which is quite funny to read when you know who it is.
Yeah, so is it like people slagging off the boss? But they don't want to quit.
A little decisions that have been made, things that they're not happy about, things that they'd like to see done a little bit differently.
Okay.
But it's interesting because I think that it's created a space where people can actually, voice their concerns. Because I think when you're in an environment like some of those networks where they're quite big machines, and it's very difficult to get your voice heard, whereas a place like Throng, which quite regularly is read by people in the media, journalists and so on, you just have to get one person dropping a little bit of an inside scoop on something, and the media can be all over it.
Right.
And it's happened before, and no doubt it will happen again. And so that whole thing itself is, probably dig into that quite a lot.
Cool, so that was Regan from Throng, and he'll be back next week with part 2 of that. So in the meantime, send us your comments, simon at ijump.co.nz, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. It's at our website, ijump.co.nz. Okay, catch you later.